All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Hamashiach, who some call Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yehoshua. We mostly know as Jesus Christ. Um, I'm sure y'all have heard about the allegations. We talked about him having the health scare. Seems he has recovered and been released from the hospital from the last videos that I've seen. Him giving thanks to everybody who had him in prayers, and he was exiting the hospital. Still seemed a little weak, but he was exiting the hospital. Some lawsuits that came. We seen, I think right before the health scare or in the midst of it, his lawyers have filed a lawsuit on this individual here, Mr. Youngblood, for defamation. We did a video on this a few weeks ago, or maybe something like that. A few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago. Time flying so fast now. And I was saying, man, he was giving his thing about, giving a story about what happened to him and that was involved in TD Jakes. We have to say that these are allegations. You can't say that none of this stuff is true. We have to be careful with that because, these people are throwing lawsuits out left and right. All three of these individuals on the screen. But I think this was a money grab, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, my speculation. And again, when I first heard the story, we're going to start with the initial clip of the first video that I did. I was saying that the story wasn't adding up. That story wasn't adding up. Now we got a few more details. We can kind of, bring in some more speculation. All right, this is just opinions of what happened until, these things come out, which they probably never going to come out. Not at this point, but I think all of it will get uncovered eventually. But these individuals may be gone by the time that actually happens. But this is fin to lift up the veil a little bit, so you can see how dark that church is, man. How dark, how demonic, and how it's led by perversion. And that flesh, especially when it comes to sexual perversion, nothing motivates that flesh like that. I think that I think it's even more powerful than money. The sexual perverseness is more powerful than money, in my opinion. And it motivates more than money. Whatever that sexual perversion is, one trying to find a way to do it'll motivate them more than money. They'll go to extremes. They'll be dedicated. And I think they've found an avenue from many maybe thousands of years, millennia. They found that this position as a bishop, as a church leader, has been a position in which one could fulfill some of those sexual perverseness or some of that sexual perverseness. Whether it's the P word, the petty word, or whether it's fornication, adultery, homosexuality, you can fulfill it as a church leader or a spiritual leader. You don't even have to necessarily be church, or the biblical text. It can be any sort of spiritual leader. Is an avenue for one to fulfill their sexual perverseness. You can tell them anything. All right, and they just gonna follow and they just gonna lead. Nobody leads more blindly than those trying to follow a spiritual leader. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this thing play. Trying to see where the motivation comes from. Really didn't find much. He does a lot of credit. And I was digging into the brother's history because initially my thought process was, oh yeah. You know, whatever he did and whatever that service was that he provided, it opened doors for him in ministry. And when I went to his Instagram and I was trying to find some LinkedIn, I was trying to find some profiles, see what he does. Nothing came up in ministry. And to found out, we want to find out why. All right, it's not that it's there. It's not that he didn't get into ministry. He did become a spiritual leader. But he had to erase that complete history. He had to erase all of that. And we will see why in this video. Repair, get rich, entrepreneurship type stuff. So he chasing a bag. He been chasing that bag. But he's saying this was when he was, 18, 19 years old.
I can't to this day remember how I got off that phone, but I do know I made a decision that I wasn't going to the service that night.
And I'm going to tell you what don't add up for me and what made me do the video, because the question and stuff is that if you pulled away if you're alleging that TD Jakes grabbed you and tried to kiss you and that kiss didn't happen, and you pulled away and kind of ran out like you trying to make it seem, and you were just so discombobulated, he wouldn't have called you that next day. Like, I believe he's smart enough not to have called you and demanded, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, if that's what happened. But if he did kiss you and y'all had that intimate moment and then you left, then then that's what that call was about. Then that call makes sense. All right, you got to make it make sense. Then that call makes sense.
And eventually I told my mother, I'm not going to go to service tonight. She says, no. We got a rule in this house. If we go, you go. I never told her what he had done. I went to church, and the most humiliating thing imaginable happened that night at church.
So y'all was out that Saturday night.
Bishop Jakes, getting up to preach, speaks into that microphone. I'm going to ask young minister Youngblood to read for me. And after all of that drama of the last 24 hours, I had to read before he preached.
He had already started lifting you up. I'm sure there was a lot of people there when he asked you to do that was jealous that he asked you to do that. If he had got a church somewhere and was preaching somewhere and doing some ministering, but he had, what made him go on Larry Reed Live, 30 years later, 25 years later? What's the motivation here? And I know, stuff happens to people and they don't get their voice until later and so forth. I get it. I get that element of it too. And I'm not saying the brother's lying. I'm just saying, it just sounds, the story, the story got some holes in it, to me, in my opinion.
Yesterday, him being overwhelmed. Earlier, you see in the video, his wife was praying for him and edging him on, which is pretty norm. But we sort of saw in that it was as if, at least I did, it was as if there was something that they knew that they were against, and he was having to preach through. And now we know what it is. Just hours ago, Bishop T.D. Jakes has filed a lawsuit against Dwayne Youngblood.
And I think this brother is in it also. And like I said, this brother here, this brother here, his mentor, Bishop Bernard Jordan, if you an 80s baby, 70s baby, you've seen him on BET late night giving out false prophecies, claiming to be a prophet. He the one laid hands on Run from Run DMC, and the reason why he's up here wearing one of those little priest garments or whatever. I think they all live that other life. All right, in my opinion, speculating. All right, and they hold those secrets. These are gatekeepers holding those secrets, getting involved, putting people through these rituals of and I think what that brother was probably Youngblood was mentioning was a ritual that he knew he was gonna be a part of. That's why they brought him down. We're gonna see a little more on that, but this brother here, even he has tons of allegations of the same manner, because this is the avenue you go. This is the avenue. All right, this is one of the best. It's not the only, but a spiritual leader is one of those avenues. We've seen it too. I think recently the gymnastics teacher was messing with the little girls, Boy Scouts. That's a position also for those who want to be who want to deal with this spiritual perverseness, or they want to deal with their lustful perversions, not spiritual, but they want to deal with their lust. They get in there. It's a lot of demons in these places, in these churches, in these certain positions. And we have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of this. All right, you just be dropping your kids off somewhere or getting counseling from somebody. Oh man, I'm gonna let this brother take my son out. Like, why would he want to do that? Why he just want to be with your son? Why even want to be a spiritual leader? Like, I even question people on that. Like, why you want to be a slave to the people? Why you so eager to do that? Why are you so eager to be a leader of the people, to be a head of a church, to have a congregation? Why are you so eager to do that? And a lot of times it comes from, they're gonna say it's spiritual and God called them and all that, but a lot of times that ain't the case. They have alternative motives, whether it's financial or perverse. And usually those motives is what drives them into it, because ministry is servitude. It's servitude. What is the lesson about today? Hey, I have a problem with this. Hey, can you talk to me about that? Hey, I need to hear about it. Hey, can you pray for me about that? Like, it's servitude. When it's done right. And so a lot of brothers, when I see, but like even myself, like it ain't nothing I signed up for. I ain't signed up for that. I ain't signed up for that, man. It's like raising your hand for overtime and you ain't getting paid. You ain't signing up for that. I'm not. I mean, it just ends up happening. It just ends up happening. You just end up being in that position somehow. It's like, well, how I get here? Oh, how in the world did I get here? How did I get on this camera? So how did I get in front of? How did I get a school? What in the world is wrong with you? How did that happen? And then you open and people start coming like, man, But brothers just jumping into that, it's because they see something else that's really not there if you're doing ministry correctly. But of course, even how he's dressed and the lifestyle that he lives, that's why they're getting into it, to fleece the flock.
For defamation. This is a civil suit, but it's at the federal level in federal court rather, because of jurisdictions, and they're in two different areas.
Like I say, I think he in the lawsuit too. I think they gonna, because like I say, they're after Bishop T.D. Jakes. They're after him, trying to get a little money grab. Hey man, you got to put something in the pot. You've been inside of this. This is allegations. This is me just talking. Hey man, you need to put something in the pot. We need about 10 million to come through the pot. They like Diddy. They are like Diddy. It's a spiritual. There's a Diddy on the religious side, on the religious cult side. There's a Diddy. And I would if I had to name anybody, I would name that brother Bishop Bernard Jordan. I would say he's on that level, but that's just allegations. I'm just talking. Don't take nothing I'm saying serious. But I would put him up there. And his son had an allegation. He was the first one that brought out the allegations on TD Jakes, low key. All right, and Larry Reed Live is connected directly into that. And then they tried to bring the other brother in. They try to attack it together. But TD Jakes' lawyers, made a power move. Like, oh man, especially not you. Especially not you, Mr. Youngblood. I know darn well you ain't breaking up no allegations. Everybody's hands dirty.
Very interesting that we have gotten a full synopsis of every great accolade that this
and everybody, these brothers is kind of in this. They ain't that lifestyle, man. All right, they in the lifestyle. Even just the pink purple words there. It's going on my radar.
Man has, and now we move to the defendant. This almost reminded me of I won't say that. In stark contrast, Dwayne Youngblood is registered as a lifetime sex offender.
That brother who made those allegations is registered as a sex offender
in the state of Pennsylvania and is currently under supervision by the state's Department of Parole with parole and gave his parole number. They want you to look this up. Youngblood has repeatedly and uncontrolled.
And then it sounds like he on Youngblood side. Like he kind of like, yeah, they want you to, they put all this put all Youngblood's information. That information should have been put out there during the interview. We should have known soon as he got up there to try to say that TD Jakes did something to him. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying if you're gonna make those allegations, you're gonna be the one that make those allegations. We should know who you are. And all of this information should have been read out to see if if your story could even host out, because you a predator.
Sexually assaulted young children since at least 2002. On all occasions,
you've been assaulting these kids over 20 years. And that ain't no allegation. That's in paper.
Youngblood has pleaded guilty and admitted to his heinous crime.
And you pleaded guilty.
Crimes. And
you want to write a book about what? How you a predator? Just shut your mouth, man, and repent and find you some hole to crawl in, man. What you doing? Getting on YouTube trying to play victim. And you been a predator. Guilty in the court of law. Pled guilty for over 20 years. The pride of these folks. And then Larry Reed had to know that before he brought him on it to interview him. And you thought that was gonna fly. They all predators, allegedly. Speculating. I'm just talking.
2006, at the time pastor of a church in Homestead, Youngblood was first arrested on charges of sexual assault and corruption of minors and other charges. In that case, he was accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old in 2002 while counseling the boy. The teen sought counseling from Youngblood because a cousin had taken advantage of him, according to a police affidavit. As part of a plea deal, Youngblood was sentenced to a year of house arrest and 7 years of probation. Part of the plea deal prohibited Youngblood from...
That's his story that he told. He said something happened to the 15-year-old. He sought counsel from Mr. Youngblood. And he get up there on Larry Reed Live and tell a story that, hey, I had gone through something and I sought consultation to TD Jakes. I sat there and I talked to him. Nobody understood me like he understood. Man, you told your story. What's going on, man?
From counseling children. Despite this conviction, Youngblood was unsatisfied. In 2014, Youngblood was charged with inappropriately touching 2 teen victims. In one instance, on about 25 occasions.
On about 25 occasions, you up here playing victim. Man, y'all, come on, y'all. And I'm telling you, like, it can't even be exact. I can't even exaggerate. You know, how wicked this, especially, I ain't gonna say especially. I'm just gonna, a lot of these black churches, the leadership with it, especially, and it seems like it's heavy and Kojic. Seems like this is heavy and Kojic. And I'm gonna give you, we gonna keep going. We gonna see why.
He was counseling the young teen between 2009 and 2011. With respect to that victim, counseling sessions in Youngblood's church office began when the victim was 16 years old and ended when the victim was 18. At which point the victim told Youngblood he no longer wanted to participate in counseling, according to the criminal complaint. In another, Youngblood...
All this is happening in counseling. He had another one in 2009, 2011, 16 to 18, counseling, touching them over 25 times.
Had sexual relationships with the youth over a 3-week period. Youngblood pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 16 to 48 months in prison.
How is he just getting 16 months? On your third time. And that's because they're high-level people. They're high-ranking people giving him lawyers, giving him money. I wonder how big that church was. Somebody need to find that church. Need to go in there and talk to those members about Mr. Youngblood and how long they were sitting up here and how many people knew this foolishness was going on.
In 2015 and 3 years of probation. Nevertheless, while on parole, Youngblood conspires with others to harm and profit from attacks on prominent black religious figures, including Jakes, as more fully elaborated herein below.
Now y'all on probation. This joker out here trying to make allegations on other folks.
That was a mouthful. We got over 3,000 in the chat. Hopefully we have at least 1,500 likes.
Now the truth has come out. Yesterday, we told you that TD Jake's health scare was not because he was nervous about this diddler, but because he was nervous about this diddler.
Now that dude there, hold on, let me see if I can zoom in on that thing. Yeah, I may. Hold on, let me see if I can zoom in on that picture for y'all. Give me 1 second here. This thing been going on a long time, y'all. Long time. You know, if you know, that could have been a gift for Mr. Jakes. If that, if this story had any truth to it. Mr. Youngblood could have been counseled by this. This is the leader of his church, the brother with the Yosemite mustache. He could have been he was the leader of that church. He could have been counseling Mr. Youngblood, and then invited down Bishop T.D. Jakes, to maybe counsel him also. That's just allegations. I'm just talking. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sunday, November 24th, we let you know about this man, Dwayne Youngblood, who has been going to the press telling about his encounters back in the day with Bishop T.D. Jakes and Bishop Sherman Watkins.
Hold on,
Dwayne Youngblood.
We gotta go back. Let me show you Mr. Sherman Watkins.
Dwayne Youngblood.
And somebody need to do a docs on Mr. Sherman Watkins. We need a docs on Mr. Sherman Watkins. We need a docs on him. And it seems like he and if that's his picture in the background right there, he been doing it a minute. A long time. He didn't develop them lust inside of the church. He what's the word I'm looking for? He didn't develop him in the church. He fulfilled them, for lack of words. But the church is what allowed him to fulfill those desires. That position. Everybody want to be up under Mr. Sherman Watts. All right.
Dwayne Youngblood, who grew up in Sherman Watkins' ministry, which was filled with PDF files.
And this brother is alleging that it was filled with PDF. And that's what I'm saying. We ain't, you just ain't doing enough calling these folks out. And we gonna give you the map. We gonna show you where all these demons congregated at. All these high-level demons congregated in one place. You could have got them all. Probably not all of them, but you would have got most of them.
Grew up and became a PDF file himself. But he began to tell his stories, and those stories corroborated with other individuals. Him speaking to the press has bothered T.D. Jakes, his family, and his team more than anything in the history of T.D. Jakes' ministry. And that's why today, Monday, November the 25th, T.D. Jakes and his family has filed a defamation lawsuit against Dwayne Youngblood. T.D. Jakes gets talked about all over the media. People drag him all the time. He never files against them. He never says anything. It's something in particular.
And I done got a T.D. Jakes strike. I got a copyright strike with TD. It was like, well, pull that down. But of course, he's right. Many Israelites definitely go after him. And none of that stuff bothered him. But and there's been allegations. There's been kind of crazy allegations, like what Youngblood's going up against, and it never bothered him. But it could be some truth to what the brother's saying. Hey man, nothing's bothered him as much, and so he was like, man, this is enough is enough. But I think it's Larry Reed is the problem. That platform is the problem. He know who he fight. He ain't fighting Mr. Youngblood. Mr. Youngblood is a That's easy work. That's easy work. He won't that Larry Reed brother.
Particular about Dwayne Youngblood that TD Jakes is trying to get gone, but he's made a mistake because now the filings is in the mainstream media. Here it is in the New York Post. As I've been saying for a while now, I don't know what Jakes did or did not do at a Diddy party. That ain't my concern. There's enough real stuff in Jakes' real actual life that man need to deal with, that don't nobody need to make up nothing about him. And
it seems like he knows some other stuff that, you know, that the people, and we seen that video. It was a video I did with those them flaming Cheetos at Morehouse that were being brought up to be leaders, being counseled, about to go through the ritual, about to be victimized. And you know, even in that video, there was another video that we played that, you know, brother made some allegations into a whole crowd of people. So they all know. They know. But they ain't gonna say nothing.
now there's going to be a court case. Dwayne Youngblood, he's going to get drugged. You don't have the money that Jakes have. You don't have the backing that Jakes have. You're going to get drugged. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out. And there's other people who don't have Dwayne's baggage that can tell the truth about what they've seen.
And that's the thing about him, make him a terrible, you know, somebody that shouldn't be making any allegations because of his baggage. He can't be the first one. It's just like, what was that other Bernard, but he was in the civil rights movement. He was a counselor to Martin Luther King. He put together the civil rights movement. Something Bernard. Y'all put it in the comments. But he ended up being a activist or advocate for the LGBT movement right after that. Okay, right after King get his head blown off, he goes into, you know, the civil rights of the LGBTQWX. And he also got some allegations. Oh, I think it's in court. It's in paper of some of that P word that he was involved in. But he was our civil rights, one of our civil rights leader, one of the ones that were organizing, that they were using to organize everything, that they were using to middleman the money, to get the money through. Man, this stuff is so implanted and so, and that's what it's hiding behind. Even now with the feminism movement, the gay rights movement is hiding behind that. The Black Lives Matter, the gay rights movement is hiding inside of that. Like the Trojan horse, like, you know, just it's veil, it's put on, it's masked in, you know, black power, but it's really gay power.
Heard over the years. I hope it all come to light.
I want to show y'all this too. Hold on, let me shut this down. Get the display up. But I wanted to show y'all this here too. This is Bishop Carlton Pearson's celebration of life. All right, you go to this. If your pastor was here, if your pastor vouched for Bishop Carlton Pearson, he's in the community. Ask your pastor how he feels about Bishop Carlton Pearson. You're in the Kojic. Ask him how he feel about Bishop Carlton Pearson and his teachings. And if your pastor was there at this service, all right, he's in that community. Michael Todd, William Murphy, yeah, Bishop, and it was done by Bishop Bernard Jordan. It was done by him. He the one put it together. That's what I'm saying. He might be one of, you know, he's the archbishop. Then he had on a red outfit. He had on a red garment. Man, come on, y'all. If y'all can find it, I couldn't really even find, good clips on it. But we'll let this little clip play. Fair use, fair use.
Come on, everybody.
Hold on.
Come on, put your hands together.
See that? It's a little flame on it. If your pastor on that stage, he got a little flame on him.
Come on and put your hands together all over this place. Let's honor the Lord. Hallelujah. You're worthy to be praised. Come on, put your hands together.
Look at the brother in the back with them put his lips together.
Right here. Come on, come on. This is a celebration.
Look at the brother in the white. These brothers, it's a little flame on them.
Come on,
Allegedly,
everybody.
allegations.
Let's lift our voices together. Hallelujah.
Okay, let me just let it go.
Hallelujah.
I don't like them garments though. That garment look crazy.
Together. Hallelujah.
It's gonna look a
Hallelujah.
little crazy, but whatever.
Hallelujah. Come on. Let's say hallelujah. Yeah.
Bishop Party Christian, and he was a TD Jakes of his time. He was a TD Jakes in his time, but he went off, started supporting the LGBT. Ain't no hell. There ain't no damnation. Everybody going to heaven, no matter what kind of thing he was dealing with. But again, if your pastor was there, Noel Jones, he was there. Be careful with that, man. Pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. We'll see y'all on the next one.